Tekken game tier list, let's go. So basically guys, I have played all of the mainline Tekken games and the tag games, so I decided I'm going to rank all of these games, just so you guys know what is shit and what is not. Tekken Tag 2 will be going in Garbaggio. There are a few here that I genuinely have no idea what the fuck they are, I'ma be real, which is why I have the what is this tier, but let's just get straight into this. But guys, don't forget, if you like Tekken content, if you like Street Fighter content, remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that good shit. It helps me immensely. But let's actually get into this. Off rip guys, I'm going to be completely transparent with you. Tekken 1 and Tekken 2 are both Garbaggio. These games are trash, bro. I don't care what you guys who were born in the 70s want to tell me about how these games revolutionized arcade. I could not care less, bro. I was not born. I played both of these games like semi-recently as well. I think I emulated is on the store, I think, or maybe both are on the store, I can't remember. However, Tekken 1 is not a real game. It's essentially a party game, I'ma be real. Dudes are out here dying in like 4 regular pokes, bro. Like, King's got a plus gazillion down forward 1 on block, by the way. It's literally a meme game. Like, it's very clear that this was an arcade game in the early 90s, bro. For those of you who don't know, the first Tekken game isn't even 3D. And 2 is like semi 3D. So to me, these first games really don't feel like real Tekken games to me. However, Tekken 1, I wouldn't actually say is like a truly bad game. I think it has a certain charm to it. And for its time, it probably was pretty good. But this game is so aged and so dated. It does not hold up in 2025. It wouldn't even have held up in 2010. So yeah, this game is Garbaggio. I don't think 2 is though. I think 2 is marginally better than Tekken 1. It's still a pretty retarded party game. However, there is definitely some more refinement to it. I don't want to use the word polished because this game was not polished. But like, imagine Tekken is a plate of food, but all the food is like vegetables ripped straight from the earth. Like, they still have mud and worms and shit on them. Well, Tekken 2 is like a plate of cooked vegetables. The game is technically a 2D game. However, they started to experiment with the 3D aspect in this game with tech rolls and stuff. The balancing, even for Tekken standards, is really horrifying. This still isn't a serious game to any degree. It's literally just slightly upgraded and refined Tekken 1. And I forgot, the roster in Tekken 2 is a lot cooler than Tekken 1. But yeah, it's still pretty whack, to be honest. I'ma put this one in whack. It is marginally better than Tekken 1. Tekken 3. Every old head's favorite Tekken game. I really like Tekken 3. During the time that Tekken 3 and I guess Tag 1 was like out, Namco really hit on something. I'll probably explain it a little bit more when I talk about Tag 1. But these games just had a certain vibe and feel to them that the other games don't really have. I really enjoy both of these games. Tekken 3 can be a little bit weird though. Sidestep in this game feels very clunky. I'm not really sure what it is. It's like there's a delay after you do a sidestep. It's mad weird. And I didn't really want to investigate that any further for this video, I'm not gonna lie. And of course, it's an old Tekken game, so there's gonna be lots of aged shit in it. This game in particular has probably the most blatant, egregious bullshit. Like, at least in Tekken 4, when you want to do a laser scraper or whatever that broken Jin move is called, you really need to make sure you get down the just frame input. In Tekken 3, Jin is out here rolling around with a -11 health sweep that I don't even think is punishable with a dick jab, because I'm like 90% sure this health sweep had pushback, bro. Back in 1999, or whenever this game was made, these devs were just doing shit, fam. I can never really truly get behind games where there is only like 1 or 2 really broken characters and then there's just everyone else. But this game surprisingly has a lot more broken characters than that. So it's actually pretty fun to play, even like semi-seriously, because nobody is really playing Tekken 3 as a tryhard in 2025, you know. But like, you still want to like be a bit competitive even when you play against friends and stuff. And you can do that with this game. But obviously, Jin and Ogre, I think, are the 2 best characters in this game. But then you still have Lei. Heihachi is good in this game. Nino was good in this game. I mean, Paul is basically good in every Tekken game. You have all of these guys, and there's probably more. This game is super fun, but it does feel like base Tekken. And what I mean by that is that this game evolved a lot from Tekken 2, but with hindsight and playing peak Tekken products, you can feel that this game is like level 1. Like Tekken 2 was a polished and refined Tekken 1. Tekken 3 is what the rest of the series actually built upon, and it definitely feels like the first iteration, you know. That doesn't mean it's bad to like any degree, but it's rough around the edges sometimes. I do think this game is amazing though. Most people will tell you that this game is peak. I don't necessarily agree with that. It's borderline peak though. I won't downplay too crazy. Okay, I legit have no idea what this is, honestly. It looks like a Tekken gacha game, but I'm guessing this is pretty old as well, so yeah, no idea what this shit is. Now, Tekken Tag Tournament 1. What many of you guys don't know is that this is the superior tag game. This game is so fun. It's so bullshit. Honestly, the only reason I don't have this game in the absolute peak is because the balancing is still kind of fucked. It's pretty fucking AIDS. However, everything about this game is so good. Like Tekken Tag 1 and Tekken 3 are both what I like to call pure Tekken. Between the stages, the OSTs, the character intros and outros, the cutscenes, these two games in particular have a certain vibe that you don't get from any of the other Tekken games. Tekken at its core is really supposed to be this goofy ass light-hearted game that just so happens to have devils in it. Gameplay wise, this game isn't supposed to be hyper optimized for competitive play, whilst it still manages to be a competitive game. That sounds contradictory, but like what I mean by that is, these older Tekken games balancing was fucking horrendous. However, characters back in the day were defined by their broken shit. Like a lot of legacy Tekken characters, when you look at their iconic moves, these moves are iconic now because somewhere down the line, that move was fucking busted. And nobody else could do that particular bullshit thing. For example, Jin's Demon Paw, something that every Mishima has now for some reason. That shit was busted in Tekken 3. That shit was like -5. Super broken stuff. Like in Tag 1, the roster was just so cool and unique. Like everyone felt like a real character with personality. This and Tekken 3 just had a vibe to it that is just Tekken, bro. Honestly, for you to really get what I mean, you have to play these games for yourself. However, Tag 1 is an elite game. Amazing. This is Tekken Advance, right? This is a Game Boy game, bro. I've never played this shit. It was probably bad though. Now, Tekken 4. I am not as big of a Tekken 4 hater as my videos would have made it seem like. Mostly because people like to act like this was peak Tekken just to be different. It's not. The gameplay is like, you know when I said I liked when Tekken was just jank? Well, Tekken 4 kind of just crossed the line of jank to where it went into unfun territory. However, this game still has its charms, I will give it that. This game has the best story mode. This game actively went for a more realistic, in-depth story mode to really give their characters depth and personality, where everything before was kind of just like, ha 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 ha, Tekken, I'm a bear, ha ha ha, I'm a girl, ha ha ha, Tekken, I don't like my sister. I personally like that Tekken a little bit better, but what this game did was really cool. If I'm to look on the bright side, the dynamic stages in this game are more cool than cringe. Of course you can infinite your opponent on like every elevated surface in the game, but dynamic stages added an extra layer of variation to the game, which I think is pretty cool. Also, we need to talk about how every character in this game is low-key drippy as fuck, especially Heihachi. This game, in hindsight, does almost everything right, except the gameplay. Like honestly, if you just put Tekken 3 gameplay into Tekken 4, you potentially just have the best Tekken game of all time. But unfortunately, we have Tekken 4 gameplay, which for the most part is abysmal. Like there's just too much broken stuff. Like Tekken 4 Jin has a serious case of just being the best Tekken character of all time. The devs were absolutely on fent balancing Jin. Lee is really broken in this game. Mina is pretty busted. Didn't she like have like a launching hell sweep in this game or some shit? But like, not even like the little mini combo Mishima launching Hell Sweep, like actual combo Hell Sweep. Steve was out here doing his usual nonsense. Very silly, very goofy game, I can't lie. I feel like this game honestly just evens out as decent. One half of the game is really good, the other half is really bad. There you go. Tekken 5. Okay. Vanilla Tekken 5 is another game where the broken shit crosses into unfun territory, but kind of for different reasons this time. Tekken 5's design philosophy was everyone is going to be broken, which is fine. However, they still managed to make a few characters even more broken than base level broken, which is how you end up with Tekken 5 Steve, who has an even stronger argument than Tekken 4 Jin on being the strongest Tekken character of all time. It might actually just be Steve. I'm not going to get too deep into how broken this character was because this is a tier list video, but this character had a one button infinite that was banned in tournaments. Like, if you did that shit, you got a straight DQ, bro. Dumb ass character. And then Devil Jin was moving like fucking ogre and just being good at everything in existence. However, this game had the foundation for peak. This game has the best movement in the series. And I feel like post Tag 1, the game was basically built around the sidestep mechanics and Korean backdash, which was discovered in Tag 1. So this game has the best movement. This game has the best roster. Jinpachi, Bruce, Chris. Wait, I don't think Jinpachi was actually in Vanilla Tekken 5. As a playable character at least. But Bruce, Christy, Julia, Lei, Armor King, Wang, Anna, Roger, all of the OGs. I think this is the first game with like an actual customization menu and stuff that could be unlocked as well. And you could unlock them in so many different ways. You still had the story, you had attack mode, you had that one dojo mode, you still had survival. The stages in this game were mwah. This game has the best OSTs in the series, hands down. There's actually not another Tekken game that even comes close to it in this regard. If I want to get extra nerdy with it, this was the first game with wall combos and crushing moves. Oh, also, you could for some reason play Tekken 1, 2, and 3 in this game as well, just because. However, by the same logic as Tekken 4, if the gameplay is bad but everything else is good, it still goes indecent. However, I don't think Tekken 5 gameplay is even bad. I just think that the balancing was just kind of fried. Like the base, like the actual, like how you play the game was still good. I think Tekken 5 is still good enough to go into amazing. Now, Tekken 5 DR. Tekken 5 Dark Resurrection. I think that's what it's called, right? This is the best product Tekken has ever come up with, and I honestly don't even think it's close. I don't think that we will ever get a Tekken game as good as this game ever again. Tekken 5 DR is basically Tekken 5 with better balancing and additional content. So basically, what they did with this game is take an uneven, misshapen, slightly chipped slab of the most expensive material in the world and turn it into one of those Greek statues that have like a fountain in their penis or something. This is the best Tekken game. There is not a single aspect of a fighting game that you can look at to critique the game that Tekken 5 DR does badly. There is something about the way that this game plays that is just so smooth. Like the way it flows, like the feeling and pace in DR, it's never been replicated in any other Tekken game in my opinion. This is the best Tekken game and I will glaze it into the ends of the earth. When guys like to bring up real Tekken, where movement is king, where there's 15 different option selects for every interaction in the game, where defensive play can actually be rewarding, where characters all had individual playstyles with their own strengths and weaknesses, all whilst being a legit competitive game, those guys are really just talking about this game, because DR did all of these things the best. Tekken Tag 1 and Tekken 3 weren't necessarily the most competitive games. Both of those games have one or two characters which are just head and shoulders above everyone else, kind of. Tekken 3 does a lot better in that regard, but Tekken 4 is fucked. Tekken 6 started to move away from the whole character uniqueness thing. DR is the perfect Tekken game, and we will never return to peak because there's been 4 games made after this and none have really scratched what DR did. This game is Tekken's best product. It's honestly a shame that the dudes at Tekken HQ don't support older games, because genuinely, if this game got like a re-release with better online and stuff, I just think we would all be playing DR. Of course, there's monkeys who will still be trying to convince you that Tekken 8 is a good game, so they will stay 50-50ing people, but you know what I'm trying to say, right guys? I also think it's worth mentioning that this was the first online Tekken game, which was also cool as shit. This game is obvious peak. Obvious peak. I've never played this stinky Nina game. I have said this on many an occasion, but Tekken 6 is overhated, egregiously. This is definitely, with hindsight though, like I 100% get why people who were playing this game at the time were bugging out. So Tekken 6 is the first modern game, right, that switched up the formula a lot. I think they kind of saw the success that they had with Tekken 5. We need to dumb down this game just slightly so more people can play it, right? Which, to be honest with you, I agree with. Pre-Tekken 6, you had to be a complete sicko to be good at those games, because things like frame data being readily available was not a thing. In fact, frame data being available was not a thing until literally Tekken 7. So just on that alone, you had to dig into their internet archives just for scraps. Or you had to know players that were already really good, which at these times online play wasn't a big thing either. So you had to know these people in person. Like, the barrier to entry of these games, if you wasn't an arcade fiend, was absolutely ridiculous. So making things simpler was a decent idea in my opinion. However, naturally, these dudes implemented this horribly. Well, I wouldn't say horribly, I would just say badly. Instead of just making a fucking tutorial or something, they implement a comeback mechanic in Rage, which was way overtuned. Rage damage was insane. And then they add a bunch of monkey characters who do everything good basically. Training wheels characters, right? Basically, instead of the devs going, oh, this game is too hard, we are going to explicitly show you how to play this game. Or giving us the tools to get even better by like improving practice mode, giving us frame data, etc. No, here is Leo, who can do pretty much everything good. You don't really need to think too much about your individual character's responses to things, because you have Leo, who has a generic response to everything. Or you can have Lars, who has lots of crushing moves. So to a person who doesn't sweat the game and know Lars in and out, you're going to get some free hits in just because. And he has big damage, so you can get less hits in than everyone else and still win. Oh, for both of these guys, we are also just going to give you the easiest execution moves and combos imaginable. Oh wait, Lars wasn't even added until BR. Anyways, Bob. We all know what Tekken 6 Bob was like. He was probably the most egregious example of a character they just let do everything whilst also doing Mishima shit for half of the execution, which is goofy, right? However, despite all of this, with hindsight, this game is actually solid. By today's standard, Bob is manageable. Tekken 6 Bob players were still playing Tekken, they just had an easier time of it because they were playing Bob, but I wouldn't say anything any character did in this game was just free. The Bob for his time was a monster, and I guess Lars, that bum-ass character, for their time was monstrous. However, by today's standards, not so much. Even a mechanic like Rage, we're still playing Tekken neutral. If you really think about it, like if you get hit with a rage combo and die, you still lost neutral fairly. There was just added consequence because you didn't finish off your opponent. Oh, I forgot to say before, they nerfed movement in this game as well, which I will always disagree with, but it wasn't anything too crazy. Honestly, it may not sound like I was complimenting this game too much, but I really like it. I'm gonna be a little controversial here and place this in amazing. Wait, Bloodline Rebellion isn't even on here. Bro, what is this tier list, guys? They had Tekken 5 and Tekken 5 DR, but they don't have vanilla Tekken 6 and BR. I'm not gonna lie, guys. Okay, I'm just gonna count BR as Tekken 6 as a whole. BR, many of you won't agree with me, is peak. It was more balanced, the graphics were better, stage interactions were included in this game, so like floor breaks and stuff. You know that little motion blur that Tekken 6 and Tekken 2 have? Why did we get rid of this? But this is in this game. Like, I feel like this was a key thing in Tekken's overall aesthetic. I thought it was a cool thing, but whatever. Was there like a competitive reason why this got removed or something? Whatever. BR is Tekken 6, but better, which was already a pretty good game in my opinion, so yeah. I don't know if people are gonna like this, but I'm putting this game in peak. I genuinely think that Tekken 6 is a peak game. Fight me. I don't know what this is, bro. Okay, Tekken Tag 2. I bet you guys probably skipped just to get here, right? You probably did, right? Tekken Tag 2 is really hard for me to rank, honestly, because depending on what you think makes a good Tekken game, you would rank this game very differently. Like, if you're more of a Tekken 3 to 5 enjoyer, you would probably rank this game a lot higher than if you were just someone who started playing at 6 or something. Tekken Tag 2 is the worst balanced modern game. Yes, it has worse balancing than Tekken 8. I will talk about why that is when I get to Tekken 8, but this game, I imagine when you reach a certain level, becomes really unfun and very uncompetitive in my opinion. People like to overcomplicate this game and say it's real Tekken, when realistically, the person with the best movement wins, because if you're playing a Mishima, you hit an electric into death or near death, or you just play capos, right? Like, this game is not as deep as dudes like to make it out to be. That being said, casually, this game is very fun. There's like a gazillion characters. It does have its upsides. I'm really just trying to gauge if this game is as good as Tag 1 or maybe even a little worse, because in all honesty, they both have similar issues. They're both pretty horribly balanced, and I put Tag 1 in amazing. However, me putting Tag 1 in amazing is at least 50% bias. So Tekken Tag 2 is definitely better than Tekken 4. Is it better than vanilla Tekken 5 though? I don't think it is. You know what? We're just gonna put Tekken Tag 2 in decent. Fuck you Tag 2 fans. I don't care. Tekken X Street Fighter is a game I didn't play very much. Didn't this game have like jewels or diamonds or gems or some shit? I think they gave you buffs or some weird system was arse, and I'm pretty sure, I think that was this game, right? I'm pretty sure that wasn't even an optional thing. But this game was pretty fun if I remember correctly. The art style was kind of weird though, but I guess the game was decent. Tekken Revolution is another game that I barely played. I'm like 80% sure that this game was paid to win though, so I don't know, Garbaggio, fuck off. Now, Tekken 7. Tekken 7 is really weird because this game is amazing, but I'm also thinking, is this game peak Tekken? Because this is a weird one. The game is undisputed amazing, despite all the people that try and say that this game sucks for some reason. The thing is, this game kind of plays differently to these two because movement is heavily nerfed in this game, especially sidestep. To me, Tekken's movement system is like the core reason why a Tekken game will end up being good or not. 2Ds technically ruined the game as well, but dealing with 2Ds wasn't something that the regular Tekken player had to deal with like at all. At worst, if you was a Tekken King Plus, you might run into a cracked Akuma once every 6 months, but you know, I'm actually a big fan of how defensive Tekken 7 was. Lots of pros don't apparently, but I guess that's what happens when you have to play Knee and Arslan Ash at Tekken 7 for 10 years straight. That might have something to do with it, you know, these guys. Honestly, I think Tekken 7 is a little worse than these games personally. I think the lack of offline content in this game kind of hurts it as well. Like, these dudes were out here charging for Tekken Bowl. But you know, this game did have a much lower budget than all the other games, really, so This game is definitely at like the top of amazing though. It's borderline peak, I can't lie. This game is worse than these two in peak though. I think it's universally agreed that it's worse than DR, and like, it really depends on your opinion of 6, I guess. I don't think many people share the same opinion of 6 that I do, I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, this looks good. But now the big one, Tekken 8, the latest game. I'm really going to try and not be biased here, right, because I really just want to put this shit in Garbaggio without a second thought. However, using my brain, this is by far the worst modern Tekken game, by far. Tekken Tag 2 is a runner-up for that award, but fun can still be found in Tekken Tag 2 if you just play the game casually or with friends. It is very hard to have fun with Tekken 8. In Season 1, I would have just said that the game was just decent, like it had a lot of issues and broken shit, but I still found some satisfaction in ranking up online at the very least. And Steve was still like an actual Tekken character at that point. Season 2, however, is genuine garbaggio. I genuinely don't know if I would rather play Tekken 1 or Tekken 8. Because Tekken 1 can at least be so bad that it's mildly humorous. Like if I one-shot my friend with a pull death fist, I think I could get a couple of giggles out of that. There is nothing funny about Tekken 8. It's just cringe. So if one season is decent and the other is garbaggio, I guess that evens out to whack. So Tekken 8 is whack. And that's it, guys. I like this list. I think it's pretty good. I don't think people are going to like the Tekken 6 placement, and I think there's definitely going to be a few people who get pressed about Tag 2, which is fucking hilarious. But yeah, this is pretty good. If you liked the video, remember to like, comment, subscribe, and until next time, guys. Boom.